let me tell you a story about how trees are going to help you a better. Let me tell you a story about how trees are going to make you a better business owner. And it sounds weird, but I want to take you to the Arizona desert. Now, specifically in the 1990s. In the 90s, these researchers set up what was called Biosphere 2. And Biosphere 2 was this completely sealed environment where they were trying to mimic Earth's environment, but without any of Earth. They tried to create Earth from scratch. Also, that one day astronauts could go to Mars and create everything they needed to survive, from all the forests that they'll need to produce the right amount of kind of carbon dioxide and oxygen, to the food they needed, to the water they wanted to drink and produce, and all these kind of things. It was, how can we create life, an Earth environment in a completely different place? And the goal was to provide the perfect conditions, optimal sunlight, the perfect water, the perfect amount of nutrient balance, protection from pests, all to follow or to foster this rapid growth, to make the world perfect, specifically for trees. And they wanted to see these trees excel. And what they found is these trees just like shot up. I mean, they had everything they needed, right? In this perfect environment for trees. They grew so much faster. They grew so much taller than their counterparts in the wild. But before getting mature, before becoming a perfect tree, these trees would just, for some reason, start falling over and they would die. And scientists looked into this, they couldn't really figure out, and they looked beneath into the roots, and the roots were very small. They weren't spread out, they were just anchored in a small location. And then they cut them open, and they saw these rings were really evenly spaced. Okay, so the rings that demarcate a tree's growth were very closely knit, and they're very evenly spaced. Whereas with kind of wild trees, what you'll find is the rings aren't always exactly symmetrical. They're kind of bunched on one side. And what the scientists figured out is that this environment lacked wind. It lacked stress. In nature, the wind stresses the tree. It causes them to develop something called stress wood, which is a dense structural wood that compacts one side of them so they can stand tall. And that means that they're going to withstand storms and they can support their own weight, and it shoots the roots out even wider too. The result was, despite this perfect environment, despite exactly what they thought you'd need, the trees were fragile. They needed the stress. They needed the thing to push against to make them strong enough. They grew fast, yes, but they were brittle. They were fragile. They were weak, and they had perfect, weak, symmetrical rings. They needed that stress. And what I want you to take from this is, stress is entirely necessary for growth. Just like how muscles need the stress to create growth, so does your mental edge. You need resistance to get stronger. Trees need wind to stand up. And when we overprotect ourselves from stress by providing this artificial stress-free environment, we lead to systems that can't thrive in the outside world. And I want you to think about three levels of stress originally shared by three levels of strength originally shared by Nassim Taleb. And Nassim Taleb basically said there are three levels, okay? So the first of these is fragile. It's like a glass, okay? The glass you'd put some water in. If that falls over, it's going to shatter. That's obviously fragile. Then there's resilience. And this is what so many business owners think they need. They think they need to be resilient. And this is like a plastic beaker. My daughter drinks out of a plastic beaker because when you drop this, it doesn't, for a long time, have any damage. But eventually it shatters too. There's a point where it cannot take stress. And that is resilience. Resilience as a business owner is, I'm just going to keep on doing this thing. I'm going to carry on going and just suck it up. But there's another place you can get to. And that's anti-fragility. It's becoming anti-fragile. Anti-fragile, or being anti-fragile, is a system, or it's a way of being where stress makes you stronger, where it's a positive relationship to hardship. It's a positive relationship to difficulty. So the stress actually makes this thing stronger. And that's what we want. Like I said, business owners are way too reliant on becoming resilient. They're trying not to flex. They're trying not to respond to stress. They're trying to become so tough that they don't feel stressed. But psychology and actually anything biological does not work like that. And after all, psychology is just biology we don't understand yet. We need stress. We need hardship. So think about this. What's the stress? What's the stimulus that you need to go out and get to make you more anti-fragile? That is what's going to help you find your next level. So stop avoiding stress. Stop trying to be impervious to stress, and start dosing yourself with the right amount of stress and use it and feel it.